guys, it's Alex. We're in the shop. I've got the car backed in. I've actually been driving it to work the last few days and it's fun. It really is a fun car, and we haven't even done really much to it other than the axle swap. It's gonna be in here for a bit. The next part of the build is pretty big. Got a 5.3 right there that I've kind of went through during the pandemic. I wanna get that in there, take out the 6-liter and start rebuilding it, getting it up to boost ready standards. We have a lot to do, so let's go. All right guys, before we get rocking and rolling, tearing the Caprice apart, we got a few boxes come in the mail today, so let's take a look. These packages came from Boost District, and I've opened it, but I have not taken it out of here yet. This is a brand new LSA supercharger. It's never been used. I'm not sure what pulley's on here. Pick it up here and take a look in a second, but this is a brand new GM supercharger that we're gonna get on there. Actually gonna put it on the 5.3 first. But the lid, the top part is not here yet. This is just part of the deliveries. I went with the ZL1 lid. I like the way it looks. I like how the plumbing for the heat exchanger is out the front of it, whereas the CTSV lid, the cooling comes out the back. But it's pretty cool. This is gonna look so cool on there. Here's the other box. This is the heat exchanger. So we gotta make room for that up front. The intercooler actually, well, the heat exchanger has water or coolant in it, and that's what keeps the intake charged through this is coolant. So it'll look kind of cool with the heat exchanger through the front grille too. Kind of look like an intercooler. And yesterday in the mail we've got this one. This is the what are these? The 850 fuel injectors. That should be good for our power levels for a little while. Got some adapter brackets for the head, or for the supercharger to go to the heads. It's cathedral to square, where the the supercharger has got square ports, and I'm going to put it on here on this 5.3, which has got the cathedral. So we need those adapters. But yeah, we got a little bit of work to do. We've got the hood off, set it up out of the way. We're gonna get started on some of this accessory stuff, and we're gonna try to get to the intake, get it off, and just start disconnecting as much as we can. So fun fact for all you guys with G8s or these PPVs or even the SSs, to drain the coolant, there's just an Allen key right in the bottom of the Allen bolt right here in the radiator. And you don't even have to take off the air deflector or anything, just an Allen wrench and you can drain your coolant. It's like super simple on these. So we had a little bit of time after work yesterday, so got started. We got the hood off, the bumper off, air intake. I'm gonna work on getting the radiator out next. well, we got the intake off of this thing, we're getting it apart, and there was a surprise under here. It looks like the police department did a little work on this car before I got it from auction, which could save me a lot of time and a lot of hassle. And I'm gonna bring you in here closer to take a look, but there was another little piece of evidence I saw earlier in the car that I didn't know what it was, but now it's kind of making sense. But it'll help move this build along. So I'll bring you in here and show you. So looks like the police department did a DOD delete. The smooth valley cover indicates that this does not have the active fuel management. Somebody has went through and deleted this car already. It would normally have a bunch of ridges and bumps in this thing where all the oil passages were, which would stick up and hit the supercharger. So I think since someone's did a DOD delete on this thing, I think we're just gonna try to throw the blower on here and see how it does. Why not? This thing has a ton of hours on it. It may not last long, but we're gonna give it a go. I mean, I'm not sure if they've went through this thing and freshened it up at all, but we're not gonna pull the motor. We're not gonna disconnect the AC. We are just gonna move right on ahead with this blower, this LSA blower install. And then another little piece of a clue that I saw was this marker right here, DOD minus with marker on the door. I saw that the other day. It didn't really click, but now it makes sense. So someone at the department must have deleted this car and just made a little note of it, and I didn't really get it. But so we're gonna try to move forward with this 6-liter in there and get that LSA on there. The kit that I got from Boost District came with this heat exchanger, which is just like, it's just a small radiator. Coolant or water gets pumped in here and comes out back to the supercharger, and there's a brick inside the supercharger that gets cooled by this water. The air going into the engine passes through that brick, and that's what helps keep your intake temperatures down. This is the one they sent me. I got to figure out a place to mount this on the front of the car. It uses its own coolant reservoir. It doesn't use the water that's in your radiator or anything like that from the engine. So this is a separate cooling thing, but I've seen people mount them above the crash bar in the front, or some people below. So we just got to take a look. It came with some mounts to put on here. There really wasn't any instructions, so we just kind of have to figure out where this can go and get good airflow. Really just guessing here, but this washer fluid tank, if we were to move that might could give us enough room to put it in there. I mean, it's close. Yeah, I mean, it's almost the same dimension, so that could be an option too. Maybe that's where it's supposed to go. But then I guess we'll have to relocate the washer fluid tank or just delete it. All right, some options. So I found some pictures online. I think one was through Boost District and they had it on a G8, but they had the outlets on this side and they had this bracket swung up like this. And this seems to sit pretty well there, and it looks like it's not gonna be an interference with the bumper. So I think this is the right way. We'll try to get it bolted down right here. You can see, I don't have any of the hardware and it's just kind of sitting there, but I think that's how it's supposed to go. The bracket's there. It's not touching underneath. It's tucked in right here. It's just barely, it's missing it right there. Just close, but looks good there. So I threw that air deflector back in there behind this bar, and with the heat exchanger here, it was contacting it a little bit on each side. So I'd either have to trim it up or... Alright guys, so quick recap. We've got the engine mostly ready for the LSA. We're going to stick with the 6 liter as we saw earlier that's already got the DOD delete and is ready to go. So we're going to try it even though it's got a ton of hours. We're going to go with it that way. I can't wait to get this thing done. It's going to be a fun car to drive. It already is. We've got the heat exchanger in its home, so found how to mount that, so that's good. We still got a lot of plumbing to do for that, and mounting the pump and all the wires, and we've got a lot of steps left to do. Actually need to get like a piece of cardboard in here and start writing things down and crossing stuff off. I think that would help. All right guys, well, if you stuck around this long, I appreciate it. Thanks again. I ask you to comment, like, subscribe. All those things are good for the channel, so I appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next phase. We'll get going on it. I'm excited.